Ticket number 16635. Test groups due reports upgrade. So there's been a request to update the test groups due report, and we're going to add some new parameters to this report that allow the user to generate the report's results over a longer period of time and or intervals other than just months. So we're going to add one parameter for projection to specify the time that the report looks into the future, and another parameter for interval to specify the periods. For example, if the projection parameter is selected as 3 years and the interval parameter is selected at quarterly, then the report should generate 12 bars, one for each quarter over the 3 years. So if we come to operate and maintain, come to the reports and the test groups due. If we enter the site and unit, for projection we'll have 4 years. The projection unit is going to be year and the interval is going to be yearly. So let's generate that report. And we can see we have the 4 bars for the 4-year projection, and we're going to have that yearly. If we come to the operate and maintain module and we come to the dashboard, we can open up the parameters from here, have the same parameters again, and we can see we've got the same results. 4 in 2024, 1 test group due in 2025, nothing in 26, and 2 in 27. Ticket number 16602, Demand Calculated Fields. The functionality that you'll see in this ticket is applied to calculated demand fields at all function levels. So if we come to Operate and Maintain, and we come to a unit, and we come to the Bad Actors tab, we've added a new column for the last updated date within the Demand Rates Bad Actors table. If we come to the System module, Global Configuration and the Calculations, these are the 2 calculations that we'll be using for this activity. The update functions availability period in days and the number of functions to update availability. So a function's availability calculation update can be triggered when a bypass activation date is updated. Likewise, updating a bypass authorization date, commission date or decommission date using a service status change event. So if we come back to the operate and maintain module and we filter on a function, we can see that the last updated date was September the 9th at 5:54. So if we locate that function, open the bypass activations and update the bypass activation date, save changes and refresh. This then creates an overnight task. If we run that task now, if we then go to the background task manager, wait for these 2 pending tasks to be completed. If we then come back to the Bad Actors tab and filter on our function, we can see that the last updated date has been updated from 5:54 to 6:08. Similarly, we could just use the Update Functions Demand Rate button located here. Ticket number 16537, Telerik charts. So we've updated all the charts in SLM to be Telerik charts. Visually they look quite similar, but we're just using a different library. So if we come to SLM and the System module and the User Activity Report, here we can see a basic line chart. If you hover over it, it's got the tooltips it used to have. It's got the grid in the background as well. If we scroll up just slightly, we can see the option here to download in a PNG, JPEG, SVG or PDF. If we scroll down here, we can see a bar chart. If you take note of the table below, as I hover over Instrumented Systems, for example, it temporarily highlights that row in the table below. So if I come across to MOC, adapters and dashboard, we scroll down further, here's another example of a line chart. We come to the bottom, there's a gauge chart, which looks similar to the previous gauge charts, but again, this is it's a cleaner look. If we come to the FSA module and come to the KPI CAS overview, we can see the new radar charts in here. If we hover over the points, we can see the value in the tooltip. If we come to the operate and maintain module, we can see an example of a pie chart. Let's just download this pie chart so as we can see a download. And there we can see an example of one of the downloaded charts. Ticket number 16481. Management of change checklists update lag after saving initiation checklist. So when updating the MOC EHS risk assessment checklists, there's a lag after the initial saving of the values in the initiation checklist, which leads to confusion that the MOC checklist functionality breaks when attempting to make MOC initiation selections. So if we just take a look at the screenshot with the ticket, so when you come to step 4, the EHS risk assessments, there's a delay in seeing the full complement of checklists, which is causing some confusion. So if we come to the MOC module, we come to a unit and we click Initiate MOC. We specify an MOC ID, an MOC type. We'll go for permanent for now and save those changes. We'll refresh the page when this background task is finished. That background task is now finished. So let's refresh the page. If we now come to step 2, the initiation checklist, if we just check yes on a few random items, and save changes. If we now come to step 4, the EHS risk assessments, we can immediately see the full complement of checklists without any delay. Ticket number 16517. HAZOP review template tab, filters are not filtering. So if we come to the HAZOP module, come down to HAZOP study, click on the review tab. Let's now filter on the cause. We'll go for flow valve failed to close. We can see that the grid has been filtered correctly and we have our 4 results. Ticket number 16553. Add fit as a unit of measure for failure rate fields. So if we come to instrumented systems and select a SIF, if we come to the SealCalc architecture tab, open the input group, scroll down to the inputs and scroll across to the custom failure rate. If we open the unit of measure drop down, we can see that we have fit as an option in here. If we come to operate and maintain at the enterprise level, and we select prior use certificates, if we drill down on this generic model, scroll down to the failure rates, under the default design failure rate for enterprise, if we open this drop down, we can see that we have fit as an option in here as well. Ticket number 16571. Import adapter tasks table does not auto refresh. So the import adapter task table is not automatically refreshing in the same way that the export adapter tasks tables are. So if we come to the adapters module and we come to the smart import, we select our channel, select a file, queue the import task. We then come to the import adapter tasks. We can see that we have the information at the top. The pending and finished task data will auto refresh every 15 seconds. So let's let this table at the top auto refresh. And we can see it's refreshed and it's waiting our confirmation to proceed with the import. Let's click OK. The table is now automatically refreshed and the import was successful. And it can be found down here in the finished or cancelled import adapter tasks. Ticket number 16584. Applicable IPLs are not displaying. So the applicable IPLs were not displaying unless you hovered it over and displayed the tooltip, and that was actually displaying the IPLs even though they weren't visible in the table cell. So this was causing some confusion also. So if we come to the system module and we come to the LOPA configuration, the top row is showing us that use applicable IPL calculations is set to yes. So this is the reason that the calculations, some of the IPLs were being hidden, but if you looked at the actual tooltip, you could visibly see the IPLs. So this IPL calculation has now been applied to the tooltip as well. So as if the cell is empty and there's no IPLs, there's nothing in the tooltip either. So if we come to the LOPA module and we come down to the gas tab unit and select a LOPA worksheet, if we hover over the applicable IPLs, the tooltip displaying there would have displayed IPLs that were not visible in the actual cell itself, and that's where the confusion was happening. So that's fine now. If we open the barrier that's attached to the LOPA worksheet in a new tab, we can see that this barrier has a function link to CIF-LAHH107. So if we come to the Operate and Maintain module, and we come to the Gas tab unit, and we scroll across to the Bad Actors tab, we can see why the IPL is not being applied, because if we look at the function link ID for CIF-LAHH107, the PHA demand rate is actually less than the demand rate demands per year, so it's not being applied. So the function is only applicable when the function is not in bypass or the PHA demand rate is actually higher than the demand rate's demands per year. Ticket number 16652. Demand rates report, duplicated column. If we have a look at this image associated with the ticket, we can see that the fail with dangerous failure demands column has been duplicated here. So if we come to the Operate and Maintain module, we come to the reports and the demand rates. If we enter our site and unit and generate, we can see that the fail with dangerous failure demands is not being duplicated anymore. Ticket number 16696. Generate Chromium reports in background. So when generating a Chromium report, this process should run in the background due to the time required to complete. Once the report is ready, users should receive an email with the report and a notification entry in the SLM system. The PDF should be attached to the email. However, if the PDF exceeds 40 meg, it should instead be accessible via a link in the body of the email. This approach addresses the file size limitations of the Amazon API for email attachments. So if we come to SLM, we'll come to Instrumented Systems and the Report section. If we click SLM Sys SRS Printout, we select a site, a unit, and a Sys ID, and click on Generate. We can see we have the message here that a task has been scheduled successfully to execute SLM Sys SRS Printout. The report will be sent to your email address and notification system. If we check our inbox, we can now see that our SLM instance has sent us an email. Inside the email, we can see that we have the attached PDF file and a link to the document, which will take us into SLM so as we can download the document. Now, if the document that we generated was greater than 40 meg, then we wouldn't have the actual PDF attached. We'd simply just have this link into SLM. But as the file size is less than 40 meg, we have both the PDF attached and a link to download the file inside SLM. So let's just click on that link and we can see the file has been generated here and it's ready to download.